name's Timothy Lopez, fighting out of Tallahassee, Florida. I was born here in Florida, so I'm native, but I grew up most of my life in the Bronx. So, I've been training here at Train Fight Win. I have every lunch break off. I'm a manager of a company, so I basically come in here, an hour or two, and then so I'm getting to my 2 days in, and it's not interfering with my work. I'm working with Mason. He's been putting me through the ringer. This, you gotta do it, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. And I thought I had good discipline. I've been doing stuff on my own, and then he comes in here and he just pushes me and yells at me and says, "Hey, you can do more, you can do more, do more." And my fight name's Roadhouse, and one of my favorite quotes from that movie is "Pain don't hurt," and that's what we're yelling at each other, to keep me going. As for training partners, Mason has brought in Jeremy Smith, who's just a monster. He's strong, tight grappling, tight boxing, hard hitting, and he has been tossing me up around. We have also brought in Raymond Keatsman. He's one of my closest friends. He's the jiu-jitsu coach here at Train Fight Win, and we've been, like I said, just basically round robbing me, just trying to break me, and that's basically it. Other than the fight team, but that they're here no matter what. It's the coaches that is different for this camp. There is a big music scene all over, and I go to these shows where maybe they're playing in a basement, maybe they're playing in a church, and they're playing what most people would say metal music. We call it hardcore, and Harabe. Anyways, I would throw spin kicks, and every once in a while I would catch someone, because you're not really trying to hit people, you're just trying to express yourself violently in a way that doesn't necessarily hurt people. It's, people usually back off, but every once in a while someone gets caught. And after dropping a few people, and 30% of the time they're my friends that I hang out with, they said, "Hey man, that was a nice roadhouse kick." And I'm like, technically there's no such thing, push on my glasses, and it's actually called roundhouse. Like, no, roadhouse, that's your nickname. So I got a nickname in the music scene. After my first fight, I was having a beer with Mitchell, and I told him that story, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's your nickname." And I've always thought, hey, I would earn one eventually based on my style, and he gave me that nickname, or carried it over. So it wasn't one of those you give yourself a nickname, which is, to me, kind of lame. It's like asking for your own encore when you play a set. So Combat Night's kind of been a great organization to me. My first fight was with them. I fought at 195 pounds, and once they put their heart into me, it seemed like others wanted to try and take advantage of that. So I've only fought out of, I believe Combat Night was the only promotion I fought out of except for one time, possibly twice. But again, I got a string of wins together, and the late Josh Man asked me to fight at 170 pounds for a title down in Orlando. It was a great fight. I had a guy come out and kind of take the fight on short notice. The other guy had dropped out, but he was game, and I walked away with the win there. My last fight about 2 years ago was against another game opponent. He was 5-0. Jay Edwards, nice guy, and that was at 185 pounds. I wound up getting the W there as well. So I've been Combat Night champion at 2 different weight classes, and like I said, they've been fantastic to me. Man, I know I might be a little different in this, but I can't get enough of Matt Brown. Like, that man's a grinder. I go on his Instagram and see his videos, and he's a family man as well, and he's always looking for that finish. He doesn't always get it, and he doesn't always win, but he fights, man, and I just love his style. He's just nasty, very grindy. I love, at 70, I've been watching Mike Perry fight a lot, and that man is just I don't know what it is. If he's got dynamite in his hands, it's crazy. Like he's an animal. Woodley, those are all good fighters. Like I said, Matt Brown for my top, and then you can just mash up for the rest. One of my strengths is I'm just there to have fun and fight. You know, I'm not one of those guys who's gonna say I'm gonna win every fight, and I'm not one of those guys who say I'm gonna crush everyone. You know, I think that's unrealistic. I think if I go out there with the game plan I put myself in, and I've been working hard with my coaches, it's gonna fall into my hands. But you know, you gotta put the work there, so there's a chance of getting knocked out. Like, that's how I view it. That doesn't bother me. It's not worrisome to me. It's a fight. I'm gonna do what I have to do. He's gonna do what he has to do. One of us can get a hand raised. That's a fight. Period. You know. Yeah. My coaches, obviously, my wife, who's put up with, you know, me training, Shelly, my daughter, you know, they need their dad at home, and I'm there as much as possible, but it's rough when you train, you know, a couple hours a day, and my daughter's 8 months, she just turned 8 months, and so I really appreciate you guys. I also appreciate Jeremy Smith and Mason's family. You know, we're all dads, you know. This takes away from our family, so I do appreciate you guys letting them come in and put me through the ringer. It's much appreciated. I appreciate the opportunity for Combat Night. Again, they've always treated me well, and I honestly don't want to really fight for anyone else. Like, I've always been treated well, and you got to stay loyal to those type of people. You know, there's so few in the world. So I appreciate it, guys.
Alright, let's talk about this for a second. Combat Night in Georgia. Thomasville it is. October 28th. It's going to be fucking magnanimous, right? Fucking fireworks and all kinds of crazy shit. You got a bunch of young bangers getting in there, mixing it up a bit. Usually have some pretty hot pieces of ass walking around with a card that says a number like around or whatnot. It's going to go fucking crazy. Let me tell you something. These guys are all just the young professionals, right? It doesn't get much more pure than these guys showing up for the fuck of it, just to fucking knuckle down, right? You come out October 28th, watch these boys bang, and by God, drink some beer.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
You already know.